Hello, and welcome to our very first hot topic of the year. Guys, I'm so excited to be back with my early childhood professionals. You guys can see I am in a new space classroom. I have some videos that are going to come out about setting up this space because, oh my God, I have so many teacher tools and making takes and materials that I need to put away. And I need you guys' help to tell me how to organize all this stuff that I have. So I do have a video that I made earlier this month that I'm going to post about the unpacking and the process. But setting up this classroom, and then I have a big classroom, the Training to Succeed training barn, where we're going to be hosting in-person trainings coming up here. So if you are live with me on Facebook or Instagram, or let me talk about Instagram. We're not live on Instagram. On YouTube, I want you to just drop in the chat #live. Let me know that you are here. You are ready to participate in this live training. So if you're live with me, go ahead and drop that #live. So let me know that you're here. This training is not a recording. It is actually a live training. It is airing here. It is 7:11 p.m. Central Standard Time here in Houston, Texas. I don't know where you're from, but in the chat, after you give me the #live, tell me where you are watching from. Many of you guys who signed up for this via the email, thank you so much for registering. This is going to keep you up to date with the replay and allow you the opportunity to earn your certificate from this training. Hello. Who is this? Tony. It looks like Tony Ann. Type your name in there so that I can call you by the right name. I see that you're here live with me on YouTube. So welcome to Hot Topics. So what is Hot Topics? Hot Topics is a weekly training that I am going to bring to you guys on some of the hottest topics in childcare and early childhood. And with Hot Topics, it is going to give you guys a breakdown. Yay, Houston, Texas! Woohoo! This is going to give you a breakdown of some of the things that we face in the classroom or as childcare center. If you don't know me, this is your first time being here. I am Dr. Carolyn Bob Green, and I am an early childhood expert, I say. I've been in the early childhood field for over 20 years, and I've worked in just about every role possible, if you can imagine. From assistant teacher to lead teacher to cook, assistant director, regional manager, franchisee manager, owner, consultant, so every role possible. And this is like my jam. Early childhood is my jam. And with that being said, hi Tony Ann, it is so nice to see you. I'm happy that you decided to join us today. So a lot of times in these industries, we shy away from some of the topics. And when I was a 3-year-old teacher, there were plenty of things that I went through and things that I experienced that I wish there was someone there to talk about it and to help me get through it. And so from biting to potty training to licensing things to curriculum, coming up with activities for my infants and my toddlers. And so many different things. And that is what I want this hour of Hot Topics to be about. I'm going to bring the topic. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. The way you get your questions answered is by showing up. It's by being here and saying, hey, I have these things. At the end of the day, it's not about that certificate. It shouldn't be just about the certificate. What it should be about is really becoming an expert in the field that you're in so that you can get better and better as times change. I tell people all the time, kids are not the same as they were when I was in the classroom 10 years ago compared to what they are today. So we have to keep evolving over time in order to be able to keep up. If you go into a classroom with old school mentality, these kids will eat you alive. And if not, you will be so overwhelmed until you just want to run away and quit. And my goal as your consultant, your coach, your cheerleader, your early childhood person is to give you that sparkle that has been lost because of all the craziness and discombobulations of early education. So let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about potty training. Potty training 2.0, I call it. So to give you a little bit of backstory before we get into the presentation is, I I started a potty training program. I was getting ready to potty train some 2 and 3 year olds, and my director coordinator of the program asked me, what do you think would be successful? Let's do something different. All the children that you potty train, what do you think would work? I said, what would work is if I could train the parents first, let them know what to expect, then have them, when they were ready for their child, because they got to be ready too. It's not just about the child being ready. The parent has to be ready too. And so I said, let's do a boot camp. We train the parents, and then they can enlist their kids into the potty training program. And I would just focus on potty training those 3 or 4 days. If the parents initiate, I'm going to go through my process tonight and let you guys know how that works. If they could just enlist in this potty training and do their part, we'll pick up, and that's all we're going to focus on for the next week. Yes, we're going to have activities and different things, but I want this group designated. I want to be designated to the potty training. And what I noticed was a combination of the parents being on board and the teachers being consistent. Those kids were potty trained within a week. Then we did something called overnight boot camp, where a parent would start their boot camp, and then over the weekend they would stay with us, and we would be there to coach them and guide them through it. The sleeping, all the details, being up at night, helping them understand how potty training was supposed to go, and that was a success as well. And I know that there are child care centers that don't have the equipment or space to do an overnight thing, but what you do have is the ability to set your parents up for success. All right, so in the chat, I want you guys to put in set up for success. You have to set them up. If you do not set them up for success, then they are going to fail at this thing we call potty training. So, all right, set them up for success. So let's go ahead and let's get into this potty training 2.0. And this is going to be your playbook into enlisting kids in your potty training. Like, I'm going to go through just like about everything, knowing what the signs are, from understanding, what steps to take. And we're going to take this time. If you get questions or you have questions throughout the process, go ahead and pop in, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So I'm going to be doing this on both sides so that we can have some tools later to be able to help you guys on here. So give me a second. I want to adjust this just a little bit. There we go. All right, so I can see my little button over here. All right, so with this potty training boot camp, we all have to have our playbook to success. And so there are some important things that I'm going to walk you guys through step by step. Number one, how to spot readiness. There are signs, and a lot of times we think the signs are, oh, that child can talk. You know what? You can tell me you poop, so you must be ready to be potty trained. That's not necessarily the signs. With multiple intelligence, which I'm going to do a training on that, you have kids that have linguistic skills that are high, but their cognitive skills may not be as high. And so what happens is they can talk, but they can't be potty trained. So it's kind of like a little disconnect. So we're going to talk about spotting that readiness. Then we're going to talk about, how to enroll them with the system that I have, and run a good process. And my parents, and if I had said, oh, I only did this as a teacher, then I wouldn't be able to stand behind this process. But as the owner of a child care center, I ran our potty training boot camp, and my parents were so happy with the process. They texted and they called, and they were like, is this going to ever end? Are they going to ever be potty trained? And yes, they will be potty trained. They will get to it, right? And so also, it's important to partner with your families. I don't care what people say. If the parents are not on board, it's going to take that child longer unless that child has a high intellect, unless that child has, like self-sufficient skills, executive function skills that are really high. And in that case, they can potty train yourself. My mom always jokes, and she's like, you potty trained yourself. You're just like, I'm going to go potty, and you potty trained yourself. And so whereas my sister, it was a little bit more of she had to be trained or she had to be taught in order for her to be potty trained. All right. I'm going to teach you how to host your own boot camp. Also, I'm going to teach you how to lead the recruits with positive reinforcement. So these enlistees that are coming in, these 2 and 3 year olds that's ready to go, we got to keep them motivated, because if not, it can turn into a negative experience really quick, and then all of a sudden, it just goes out the window, and then all of a sudden you're 4 and you're still not potty trained, right? And so then I'm going to tell you how to troubleshoot whenever you start handling accidents, regressions, and, understand where that comes from, because a lot of us do not understand where that comes from. So what starts to happen is we think that they are going back to being a baby, and then all of a sudden we put them back in diapers. So, understand this, and I want you guys to lean into this. Potty training just isn't a home job or a school job, but what happens is when the school and the home move together, a ready child can master this potty training in 2 weeks or less. Like, it shouldn't take that long when you work together. When they don't, it can be drug out for months, and then what starts to happen is frustration starts to set in. As a teacher, you're the one who spots the readiness first, because a lot of parents don't see it. You set the rhythm of the days. You're the one that's going to coach the parents to mirror after you and tell you what to do. And that makes you the commander of this operation. So I want to salute all my commanders in chief. If you're a teacher and you are working with 2s and 3s, you are the commander. And so I want you to type in the comment, I am the commander. I am the commander of this operation boot camp, potty training boot camp. I am the orchestra of this. All right. So let's get into the first thing, which is going to be meeting the requirements. Okay, let's get right into meeting those requirements. And I want to take this slowly so that you guys can really fully understand what those requirements look like. Ask yourself, is the body ready? The body has to be ready for potty training. So that means what starts to happen is they stay dry longer. They have fewer wetter diapers. You notice that they are basically staying dry all day, and they only have like 1 or 2 wet diapers. You can predict when they're going to have a bowel movement, and they can too. So they'll go somewhere and hide and go poop, or they'll just like kind of shut down because they know it's time. And it's just like at the same time every day, like after they eat, 30 minutes later. And so things become predictable for them, and that lets you know that their body is starting to regulate. And so also, they'll start announcing their bodily functions, like, hey, I'm pooping, and they'll show signs like, oh, I feel wet, can change me. They'll start asking you for those things. And so when they have that vocabulary and they're able to say poop, and they're able to say, I need to go, or I'm wet, change me, and they have the predictable bowel movements, and they have fewer wet diapers, then you know that it's almost time. Also, you start to notice that they stop liking being wet and having poop on them. Now, I can't say for little boys it's a little different. They don't mind running around with that poop on them for a little bit longer, but they don't like to be wet. And so you start noticing that they don't like all of that on them. And so one of the things that also told me that they were ready is the ability to hold it too. So if they were holding it, or they were going into a special place to go poop, and not just sitting in the chair pooping where they were at, they were kind of like, ooh, let me get up, let me get what I need, let me go over here in the corner. That lets you know that they have that body control, because potty training is more than just a mental thing. It's a physical thing, and their bodies have to be able to hold that poop in, hold that pee in without having an accident. And it comes with coaching and training. And so you have to be so willing to go through this process and walk them through it. All right. So also, can they do their part? Okay. So I have parents that are like, oh, my child's ready for potty training, but they can't even pull their pants down. Okay, so if you have kids that you know you're going to be working towards potty training over the next couple of months, start working with them with pulling up their pants and pulling down their pants, even though that they're doing the diaper changing process. And then if they can't even use the words, pee, poop, or know how to formally have that conversation with you, sometimes it's going to be hard to know when they need to go because they can't. Whether it is signing to you, whether it's pointing to an area, whether it's pointing to the restroom, they have to know how to use some type of word or signs to let them know that they need to go to the bathroom. Also, they will follow the parent, follow you or peers into the bathroom because they're curious to see what's going on. A lot of us are like, oh, that's so bad that they're in the bathroom. They're in the bathroom with the kid. No, they just want to know and they want to see. A lot of parents get agitated with this process because they're like, why are they following me into the bathroom? They're not even, you're not even going to the potty, but they just want to see because they're curious. So they'll start wanting to flush the toilet, put toilet paper in the toilet, and so ask yourself, can the child do their part? Can they undress themselves? Can they use the proper terminology? And have they been wanting that demo for them to be able to do it? Can they sit on the toilet? Can they hold themselves up? Are they falling into the toilet? Are they just like scared of it? So can they do their part? So rule of thumbs, look at a cluster of these things, not just one thing. Readiness beats age every time. And I know we have parents that's like, he's almost 3, he needs to be potty trained, I'm about to have another baby. You having a baby and that child's age has nothing to do with readiness. You have to make sure that they have all these pieces to the puzzle before you say that that child is ready. All right, so let's get into from maybe ready to enlisting. So observe and document. So this is where those daily sheets come in. Before you start actually physically potty training, I usually do, like I said, the boot camp for the parents, and then they'll sign up, and I do a week of observation before I even start the potty training process, which means I work with them on pulling up and pulling down their pants. I start tracking when they have wet diapers compared to when they have a poop diapers. And so tracking this will help you to understand when you put them on a rotation how often they go pee and how often they go poop. All right, so you want to confirm their readiness by making sure that those signs are present. Not all of them, but most of them are there, and actually look and observe to make sure that they can do those things. Making sure that you call in the family for a conference so that you can have that, hey, I know you signed up and I've observed for this week. You are good to continue with the potty training process. Now, let me tell you where this gets a little. Parents will get their panties in a bunch and get upset. It's the conversation around your child is not ready. There's conversation around that. I went through the checklist. I've observed your child for over a week. I think we should give it some more time. And the reason why we should is because we don't want to ruin them. We want to continue to build them up and get them ready, but right now they're not ready for that next step. Then after that, I have them sign an agreement. Yes, I do a parent partnership agreement with guidelines. Number one, you can never bring them in diapers when they're in boot camp. They have to come in with their plastic underwear and their regular underwear on every single day. The moment that they do, you get one warning. The second time that they come in, you're out of potty training boot camp, and my teachers will stop potty training. So unless there's some kind of extreme circumstances with that parent, I give them the supply list. The supplies have to be at the center for us to start, because if you don't have supplies at the center, I know that you probably don't have supplies at home either. So I not only have them sign a contract with enlisting and potty training, but I also make sure that they have all the proper tools that they need. Then we set up a start date. Like if it's coming up on Christmas, holiday break, or whatever, I don't even enlist kids during that time. But we agree on the date of a start. And usually I try to get a group of parents to do it, maybe like 3 or 4 parents within that classroom to start at the same time. That way that teacher can work with a group of kids on potty training. So then we agree on a date, and then we can kind of go from there. Okay? So recruiting the home front, okay? It is difficult sometimes with parents. You have some that are on board, some that are ready to go, and you have some that just are not ready yet. And a lot of times they think that they're ready because they don't understand the process. But that's why I train them as, co-trainers. And they're not just watching and waiting for you to do the work for them. They are actually actively engaged in this process. So when you're dealing with your families, you want to tell them you're not a spectator. You are a collaborative partner. You are a big piece of this potty training. And actually, in my process, they're the ones who started off. Not us, but them. And so this is where a lot of parents go, ooh, I'm really not ready because I didn't know I was going to start it. I thought you were going to do it. And so this is why they get invested and they don't want to go back, and they do everything that they can because they're the one who started it. So it's kind of like that respect level. Since they're the one that kicked it off, they spent their weekend up all night taking them to the potty, doing all the work, doing all the processes, and they are going to show up and make sure you do your part too. And I love this in the parents. And people are like, well, they're being picky. No, because they did the work and they don't want the work undone. So I'm going to need all of us to be on board to do the work so that that parent is not upset and that parent is not complaining. Okay? So, one child, one mission. All right? So, I give the framing to the families for a 4-week commitment for us to do this together. Again, they started off and then we kind of go in. And all of this is for their child. So we have to make sure that we're using the same words, the same schedules, the same type of celebrations, and the same type of encouragements. And so I really lean into this process because I don't want a parent calling it one thing at home, and then when the kid comes to school, we call it something different. So there is an intake form that I do give the parents, and they have to list out the words that they use at home for pottying and let us know. They also let us know, based on what they observe in the 48-hour hold period, what is the schedule that they have. And so I've had parents come in with like little notebooks, and in those little notebooks they will write down, oh, Johnny went at this time, I had him sit on the potty, he didn't go. And it's like detail, so that my teachers know how much time to set the timer for in order for them to go to the potty. Make sure that we have the same celebrations. Whatever you're going to be doing at home, we need to know, and you need to bring it so that we can celebrate them in the same way, so that there's consistency. And we want to make sure that there's no frustration, and how to handle that frustration if you feel like you get overwhelmed through this potty training process. And so we get on the same page. Why? Because we have one mission, and that mission is potty training with this particular child. So we have to make sure that we're all on the same page. All right. So here are some guidelines that I give the parents and make sure that they're on the right page. Is number one, we stock up on the right gear. We need to have underwear, and a ton of them. So when I tell parents, oh, you need to order like 10 to 15 pairs of underwears, anywhere from 5 to 10 plastic underwears, have anywhere from 5 to 6, 7 changes of clothes, they think it's a joke. My dear, it's no joke. In the comments, I want you to put no joke. Sometimes they go through all of those clothes that they bring in. Like, no joke. All right, so we have to make sure that they're stocked up on that right gear, and we're getting them a clear understanding of what they're going to need for this process. All right. So I always at the school build the sticker chart, like a success chart, and give it to the parents, and then I give them the stickers and everything to let the child put it on there, so that we're all using the same thing, and that child brings it in. They're so excited about it because when they fill it up with the potty, they get to trade it in for like character underwear. So like at the end of the graduation, they can get like Batman underwear, Hello Kitty underwear, or like my grandson Blippi underwear. And so we give them a way to build that sticker chart so that they can cash it in for what they wanted. So we want to use the same one at home at school, so we create that. Like, yes, right, Tony Ann? It's like no joke, seriously. They go through all those clothes. All right, so then we're going to cut off our liquids at 7:30 p.m. A lot of them are just getting from the daycare. They've had their milk with dinner if they eat that late, but we have to keep that bladder under control. And so We're going to cut off those liquids. We're going to create the same routine. We're going to make sure that if the family is using a potty song or if they're using certain vocabulary, like I said before, we want to bring that in to kind of help that child understand. So again, we're going to cut those liquids off early because they're not going in a pull-up overnight. They sleep in underwear from the first time out the gate. Why? Because we don't want to create confusion. No confusion. We're not going to be doing one thing at home and another thing at school. We're all going to be on the same page. All right. And then, of course, we want to loop everyone in just in case grandparents are picking up, sitters are picking up. We want to make sure that everybody knows that child is being potty trained, right? We want everybody in the loop. We don't want grandma to come and then be like, oh, he has on underwear. No, he can't wear underwear in my car. Well, then you know what? Don't pick him up until he's potty trained, because he has to wear underwear. All right. And so making sure that everyone is using positive reinforcement as well. And we never want to shame a kid for an accident or a miss. Like if they pee on the floor or if they poop on the floor and they made it to the bathroom, we still want to celebrate their efforts. Again, these kids are babies. They're 2 to 3 years old. Some of us have clothing and shoes that's older than them. And so we cannot be like so upset because they had an accident. They had an accident for a reason. Either they are distracted with something, either they knew it was coming, they just didn't feel like getting up and going. Two, they just comfortable in the situation that they're in and their body is not sending that signal that they have to go pee, or they just don't want to go. So we have those different things, but we don't want to shame them. We want to figure out what type of child they are and work with them until they get that thing down pat. Okay, so here is a little bit of the supply list for both the parents and the teacher. The only thing that I added to my list for the parents is going to be Croc-like shoes. Like they even have them at the Dollar Tree now, right? Croc-like shoes, because there's going to be a lot of accidents and we don't want to be having, pee-pee shoes and socks going home. So I asked them for the thick underwear, not the thin character underwear, not them cute ones that they find at Walmart. I'm talking about the Gerber-like thick ones that have the pad from the front to the back. Also the bloomers that go on top, they are plastic underwear. Both of those usually comes in sets of 3, so parents have to purchase multiple of them. So I've even had parents to say, hey, I can't start potty training boot camp until I get paid because I have to buy the supplies. Absolutely. You cannot come in here with the things, like anything. We have to come in here with the supplies that I recommended because this is how we're going to get them potty trained. 4 to 6 changes of clothes, flushable wipes. I always tell them to bring in like a roll of grocery bags, like 10 to 15 grocery bags, so that I can put them in the grocery bags and send them home with the child's name on them. And then of course, like I said, Croc-like shoes. And then this is something that is, a part of what's going on. Don't tell me on Monday, hey, I sent, all of this stuff, and then when I see you on Tuesday, you don't think that you got to go home and do laundry and bring it back. I need your full support. And I break that down in my orientation, like you're going to be doing laundry every night. Like, you get with the program. Or what you're going to do is do laundry maybe twice a week and buy a ton of underwear. I'm talking about 30 to 40. You're going to stock up so much on underwear that you're not going to have to do laundry. And so a lot of my parents, they're doing laundry every night for that first week because they have to have clean underwear for the next day. So what we've used in the classroom is that, depending on what size toilet you have, I assign each kid a potty chair to go on the toilet so that when they sit on it, and they don't fall through the toilet because their bottoms are so small. But it was per individual child. I didn't let them share it just because I just didn't like them to share it. Make sure that your teacher has, or you as a teacher have, plenty of stickers, motivational charts posted. You have a timer. Go to the Dollar Tree and get you a timer for each and every kid. I need to add that to the parent list too, because I usually tell my parents to grab a timer as well. And so with that timer, you're going to clip it on them and you're going to set it for 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on their schedule of going to the bathroom. Make sure that you constantly keep cleaning supplies and gloves with you because there will be a lot of accidents and a lot of things going on. And practice patience. And that's for both sides. It's not an easy task, guys. It's not something that, for some kids, it can be a struggle. It could be a start and stop thing for some of the kids that you actually serve. Some of them may not make it through that first week because they're not ready. And that is okay. And what I want to do is encourage you guys to encourage the parents. Number one, give us what we need. Be there to support. And just know that this is not going to last past 3 weeks. Okay? Most of them are done in just a week or two, but it's not going to last past that, because if I have children that have not caught on within that 3 week range, I'm not talking about just having a few accidents here and there. I'm talking about they just not getting it at all. We stop the process and then we start later, so we don't frustrate the child and we don't cause them to have like some type of animosity towards potty training. Okay. So, it starts off with just a letter to your parents, a short note home, and it does three jobs. You have to communicate with them. Make sure that when you are getting ready to enlist them, that number one, they have a readiness checklist so that they can see what you see, because a lot of parents feel like, my child is ready, but did they pass a checklist though? Make sure you attach the supplies to them. Make sure you give them a schedule so that they can kind of check off and write down, so that the home and the school routine can mirror. Making sure that they have underwear and everything that they need at home. A letter explaining why consistency matters, and letting them know that you have an open door policy and you can they can ask questions at any time. I've had parents that just come in and cry. Like, Carolyn, I don't think my child is going to ever be potty trained. I'm like, yes, they are. They are going to be potty trained. It may seem like it's going to be forever, but it is not. So, make sure that you and your director work together and make this a reusable template, so that you can just swap out the kids' names and your observations, what you observe, especially if the child is accepted into boot camp. You definitely want to have those details for the parent at that particular time. So whenever you are putting your parent letter together, you want to make sure that you have all these details in there so that they can go. All right, so let's get into actually running your boot camp, right? So we have to set the room up. We have to enlist the recruits. We have to communicate on our family boards. And then we have to know to drill that routine into the child's head. Like, we're practicing, we're working, and eventually, I'm telling you, we will get there. We will get there. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at what you need in your room first. Number one, you need to have potty stations ready to go, supplies at arm reach, being close to the bathroom. I know in some center setups this is very hard, but hey, you have to have the reinforcement in place if you're going to support the kids on this. You want to have a motivational wall. I did it. I went pee-pee, I went poop, for the kids to be able to put up there. You want to make sure that you have visual timers for them, so that they can know when the next time they have to go. You want to have mini rewards. You don't want them to just have to work towards the big thing. You want to give them mini gifts whenever they're going. So let's just say they went pee-pee in the potty 3 times. They should go to the treasure box. And you want to have you a nice treasure box. And right now at Hobby Lobby, they have the cutest treasure box. I'm going to grab mine at the end and show you guys what it looks like. But they have the cute ones. Also Michael's as well. Cute little treasure box that can go in your classroom and the kids can go on. If you notice that kids are like having a hard time taking off their clothes, like unsnapping, unbuttoning, get with the parents and make sure that they have the kind with the elastic that they can just pull down and pull up. Like, we don't have time to be dealing with buttons and zippers and all of that. So easy on clothing. And that's why I like the Croc-like shoes. It's because with those Croc-like shoes, you don't have to worry about changing their socks and their shoes every time they have an accident. So make sure that you label everything, because during this process, clothes do get mixed up and parents get irritated. They do. They get extra irritated because they don't want to do no more laundry than they have to do. And guess what? When you misplace clothes or you don't put them back in the right place, that is when they have to lean into doing all that laundry. So let's make sure that we are prepped and we are ready to go. All right. So it starts with a tight rhythm, but then it loosens up over time. I always tell people it's easier to loosen up than it is to tighten up, because once you start wilding, the kids will get on there and it's hard to get them back on track. So week one, you're going to make sure that they're going every 15 to 30 minutes, sitting there, and then if they don't go, set it for 15 minutes and then let them go back. All the time you're writing and tracking this, because you want to see, are they going? So for example, the kid comes in, they go straight to the potty. If they pee, you set it for 30 minutes. If they don't, you set it for 15. And so that's the way you're going to bounce in between until you figure out, like, okay, he really doesn't go to the bathroom until this particular time, so I can set that timer for, a little bit longer. But you have to observe them. You can't play this by ear, because every child is going to be different based on what they ate for breakfast, based on what they drank for breakfast. Like, all of those things are going to play a role in that first week. Now in the second week, you see the intervals a little bit better, and so you can start adding some time back in, and adding clothing back in, because like at this time, like sometimes they don't even have on pants, they just have on the plastic things. So what we're doing is we're adding time in. So I've seen where I've had a kid, they come in, I said I'm on the potty, they go, and I can set the timer for 50 minutes before sending them back again. They won't even have an accident in between. But then there's some kids that'll go, and then they'll go again and again and again and again. So that first week you're trying to figure out what the cadence is, and then the second week you're going to set the timer a little bit longer, because now you kind of know exactly what's going to happen. By week 3, it should be child led. They should be able to go on their own. They can either, like, when they have to go, get up and go run and go, or they're pointing to the bathroom. By then, it should be led by then, and you are just checking and making sure, hey, do you remember to go pee pee? Don't think because in week 2 they're getting it and they're good, and at the beginning of week 3 they're going by themselves, that they don't need your reminders. They're going to need your reminders every single day. So week 4, you're going to, if you see them sitting for too long, you're going to be like, hey, you went pee this morning, but it's been a couple of hours. Do you need to go? We're going to remind them before nap time. We're going to remind them before going outside, when we come in from outside. So it's going to be cue-based like we're doing now for our older kids. But we're going to do a little bit more during those first 4 weeks. Why? Because they still haven't got that regulation down as of yet. Then we're going to get into our basic training. So again, what's going to happen is they are going to sit. You're going to set an alarm for the bedtime. You're going to push 30 to 60 minutes for 3 days. And I tell parents, yes, you got to wake them up in the middle of the night to go to the potty, at least the first night, until you figure out if your child is a bedwetter overnight. If they're not, then they can sleep overnight and they can go in the bathroom in the morning. But you need to be checking and setting that timer. And that's why our parents are a little bit cranky during that particular time, is because they're not getting much sleep, because they got to wake up to take their kid to the potty. So my rule of thumb, like I told you, is 15:30. And then anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half overnight for the first 3 days. And again, you're cutting the liquids out. That's just a reminder. Naked time at home on the weekends, just getting the thing done. Just no more diapers, and really cheering them on and promoting them and telling them, hey, you're a big kid now. Here's your stickers. You're going to get these stickers. My grandson, he's about to start potty training, because this is actually National Potty Training Week, if you didn't know it. And I asked him, what kind of stickers does he want? Is he going to be ready to go to the potty? And he's like, I want dinosaur stickers. And I'm like, yes, dinosaur stickers. And, so ask the kid what they want, so that you can celebrate them and their small wins. And it's going to be tough at first. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, it's going to be easy. For some kids, yes, it is easy. For some kids, not so easy. Just because they just aren't ready. All right, so we're going to build that momentum and gradually start adding clothes back. So this is the plan that I give the parents within the first 24 to 48 hours. Like, when you're in the bath, when you're at home, just let them be without clothes and just train them the best way that you can. That way, you might have to spill up, but if you got carpet, you might not want to do that. You might want to put on the plastic underwear, because they're going to go wherever they're going to go. But as we build the momentum to the second week, we we are going to start giving them a little bit more time, a little bit more clothing, and we're going to be steadily working on the success and congratulating them when they don't have to ask to go. All right. And again, in week 3, this is where the early independence begin to come in. And then they can go at their own discretion. Many of them are flushing and wiping at this point. And then, we're looking at their clues and making sure that they're not, moving around, they're not crossing their legs, they're not going through all the things. And if they do have an accident, letting them know it's okay, we'll try next time again. So with this potty training process, we want to, build them up to graduation. This thing is not going to happen overnight, and we want graduation to be a big deal. We want them to know that you went through something that is like life-changing. Because when I say life-changing potty training, like it's going to save your parents money, it's going to save them time, until it doesn't. I have friends that when they went through potty training with their kids, they loved it until they didn't love it. Why? Because they're on the road, and then you have this 3 or 4 year old in the back room going, I got a potty. And you're like, I just got on the road. Now I have to pull over and get off the road. And so I gotta go potty. And it's always at the wrong time. And then you're like, dude, I should have just put a diaper on him. And it's like, but you wanted a potty train. So it does have a catch-22. I know I used to say when my girls I'd be like, okay, go to the bathroom before we leave home. Oh, I don't have to go. And as soon as I get in the grocery store, what happens? I gotta go to the potty. And it's like, why? And I'm like, wanted to say so bad, just pee on yourself, but no, we got to take them to the potty, right, as a parent. And so the same thing happens when we're in the classroom. They want to go to the potty as soon as you get to the playground. They want to go to the potty as soon as you start an activity. They want to go to the potty as soon as you get to circle time. And so we want to make sure that, we are patient and we're understanding that when they got to go, they got to go. And that's what we're potty training them for. Okay? So during this process, we definitely want to be positive, be patient, be consistent. That's the key word between you and the families. Be consistent. Set the goals already. How many stickers do they have to get in order for them to achieve that particular goal? Focus, making sure that you stay focused on what you're doing and how you're doing. Don't get frustrated with the process. Don't let those milestones pile up on you at the same time. Train this one skill and focus on it. It's not about how many letters and numbers and shapes they know at this point, or then what center they go to. It is about getting the potty training done during the potty training boot camp phase. All right. So, make every win loud, sticker every time, dance party every time, high fiving every time, because we want this to be a positive. And you hear a lot of me saying this a lot, and that's because a lot of families and a lot of early educators, what starts to happen is that we get so frustrated with them using the restroom on themselves. We get so frustrated with this process because it's not going as fast as we want it to go. And what starts to happen is that this thing that was supposed to be a good thing for this particular kid, it turns out to be a negative thing because we are constantly beating them down and saying negative things about this whole process. And I want potty training to be something that we collaboratively do. It's not just the daycare responsibility. It's not just the parents' responsibility. It is every party involved's responsibility to get their child potty trained. So therefore, we have to do equal parts. If the parents shortcut and put diapers on the weekends or diapers on at night, all they're doing is confusing the child and making the process longer. And some kids will even tell on you. If the teachers are not consistent at school, then the kid is going to continuously have accidents, and then the parents are going to get frustrated thinking their child is not ready, when really that's not the problem. The problem is you're not consistent and encouraging the kid to go to the bathroom. And so we want to make sure that we are all working together, that the parents understand what potty training is. And I found that many of my parents did not understand what potty training was. They didn't until I did potty training boot camp orientation for them. Then they were like, oh, I thought y'all was just going to do it like magically. Like, are we little elves and we just go around and sprinkle potty training magic on your children and make them potty train? No, it's a collaborative effort. You're going to be up at night. You're going to cut off drinking. Your car is going to get wet sometime. You have to be prepared to deal with these things, because if you're not prepared to deal with them, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a 5-year-old that's not potty trained. Okay, so we have to do this thing together. Okay. Oh, look at here. It took me way back to the beginning. I apologize, my friends. Let's get over here to our slide. Didn't think that was happening. Haha. But hey, we're going to get there. All right, so let's get there on this side. So let's talk about post potty training, because a lot of us know the drill, and we spend those first couple of weeks reminding the kids, hey, you need to go potty, you need to do this. But then it becomes a point, right, where we're like, oh, they got it, they should be good. And guess what? They're not good. And a lot of times during this process, a lot of parents give up and be like, okay, well, they were doing good, but now they need to go back to their diapers. And it's like, no, you have to stick through it, because it is going to come a point where accidents are going to start happening again because of brain development. They are so busy doing what they're doing that they're going to forget to go to the bathroom. And then when they forget to go to the bathroom, then the accidents start to happen. And this is regression, but we can get ahead of the regression as long as we know what to do. So when the drill goes sideways, or whenever the drill doesn't continue to be the way it was when it first started, here are some things that you guys want to take a look at. Number one, make sure that you have some more bigger wins, some better treasure box ideas. Add some glitter to the flush and make it magical. Add some blue water, even for little boys, the Cheerios, and have them shoot for the Cheerios. Make sure that they have like easy off things, so that they're not stressed out trying to get out. So little hacks will give you big wins, especially if you are having some resistance going on, and if you're having some regression going on with this potty training process. All right. Stay calm through the process. Your reaction is going to be the tool. So you could say things like, you had an accident, but that's okay that you had an accident. Maybe next time you'll make it to the potty, and then offer them to let you offer them to let you, I'm gonna say it again, offer them to help you clean up, so that they understand, the mess that made, how to clean it up if it happens again, because some kids will clean up themselves or clean up the area that they made the mess in, and then making sure to show them how to wash their hands. And so it's like, okay, you made a mistake, let's get over it. But if you overreact and you make a big deal out of it, it's going to crush their confidence, and it's going to make them feel like, oh my God, I just made a mistake. And then sometimes they will feel embarrassed, and when they start to feel embarrassed, what starts to happen when they feel embarrassed? They start to draw back, and then all of a sudden that child was potty trained, but now they're back in diapers because they feel humiliated or embarrassed from this particular process. All right. All right. So let's talk about some situations of when you should send them to the pediatrician. A lot of times, like, oh my God, they keep having accidents, they need to go to the doctor. But wetness, like constant wetness, like they can't control it, that's certain signs that they need to go to the doctor. Like if they laugh or they cry and then all of a sudden they pee as they're laughing and crying, they need to go see a doctor. The urine stream is like drip 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 every time. It's not like a consistent flow. If you notice that they are cringing or afraid to go pee or poop, and it's hurting them, then they need to see a doctor. Anytime that you see blood or anything like that in the urine or the stool, you need to talk to the parent and need to see a doctor. And any concerns that lingers, like that's been going on for a long period of time, any smells, any uncomfortable feelings that they have, any behaviors that they're acting around the potty. We're not pediatricians, but when things are not right, we need to encourage parents to get their kid checked out. So that's something around potty training that we have to be willing to educate and let parents know when it's time for them to see a medical profession. All right, so how How long does it take? Everybody wants to know, how long is this thing gonna take? If the child is ready and the routine is consistent, it should be 2 weeks or less, period. Okay? In the comments, 2 weeks or less. I want you guys to say 2 weeks or less. And because every child's support system is different, there are circumstances that can stretch it beyond that, but not too far. Too far beyond that lets you know that that child is just not ready. I set the expectation up front. I give them 4 weeks. At the end of the 4 weeks, I let them know, hey, we're going to have to take a pause. Let's sit down for like 6 weeks or so, and then we can start back again. We're not going to take a pause and then start on Monday. That's not going to happen. So we have to make sure that we stand our ground and make sure that they fully understand. So what are you guys going to do when you leave here? You're going to start watching for readiness. Family letters and templates. If you want my family letters and templates, just send me a quick inbox and I would definitely send you my Google Drive link with all my potty training templates inside of it. Only thing that I ask you for is your email in exchange for it. You want to prep your classroom and prep your treasure chest, your timers, and have all the supplies that you need in your classroom to get ready. And then I want you to set a start date to meet with the families, a start date for them to actually begin the process and for you to follow up on the process. And so leaving today, you have to have a plan with the potty training. So whether you're a parent potty training your own kid, whether you're a preschool teacher or a director, we have to have potty training protocol and not just think that it is the toddler's teacher responsibility to 100% train the child. So you guys have been equipped with some tools and some information. So ready, set, let's potty train. Let's get out there and get these little people potty trained. So I am going to go over to the comments for the next couple of minutes for questions. Okay, questions around potty training. And so if you're dealing with a difficult child or if you need suggestions on a particular situation, go ahead and put it into the chat, the comments, and then I will answer those questions. If you're watching this on replay and you have questions, go ahead and still put the questions in the chat because I come back to these hot topics and I answer the questions. I do get notifications whenever those questions do pop up, and so I am able to go in and answer them. So don't think because you didn't catch this live that you can't answer your questions. So when is Hot Topics happening again? It is happening next Wednesday again. And if you would like to get a list of the hot topics, all you got to do is click the link that I sent out via the email. I am going to put the links in the comments after this hot topic. So if you come back to the YouTube channel or come back to the Facebook Live, you will see a link to the list of all the hot topics. But they are going to be every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Our next one is talking about licensing compliance in the summertime. And you definitely want to be a part of that so that you can hear about some of the things that's happening at centers because they think licensing is not going to come because it's summer break, but they do, and they check a little bit more when it's summer. Hot topics mean so much to me because I'm able to untraditionally train teachers each week and give them a little bit of sparkle to take back to their classroom. So again, if you have questions, feel free to drop it. Both my YouTube channel as well as my Facebook page links directly to the DM, so you can send me a private message. We at Training to Succeed host a whole bunch of different topics of trainings for early educators, including CDA training, CPR and first aid training. We are approved through child care licensing in the state of Texas for director's licensing, but my whole jam is really building teachers. So if you're a teacher that want to become a director, my program is definitely the program for you. If you are a teacher and you just want to get great at what you do, lock in to my YouTube, lock into my Facebook, because in this season I'm pouring back into teachers because I see what's happening in the industry and there's not a lot of support out there for my early educators, and I definitely want to be that tool to build you up. All right. So I'm over in the chat. I don't have any questions so far. Okay. Well, if you register for this, I will be sending out the quiz midweek, and you can take the quiz and then pay the fee for your certificate for attending the training. So yes, you can earn certificates from Hot Topics. It's just a couple of dollars that you pay for your certificate. It's just our processing to be able to make sure that we keep your records, just in case licensing, tech peds, or whoever want a copy of your certificate. And then, but you don't have to get a certificate. You could just come and hang out with us every Wednesday for an hour and then attend one of our full workshops, because we do virtual workshops, in-person workshops as well. I want to thank you guys so much for being a part of this mini potty training 2.0 boot camp. I had an amazing time hanging out with you guys. And again, do not hesitate to drop your questions in the comments, even if you're watching this on replay, because I will come back to answer them. Oh, thank you so much, Tony Marie, for being here with us. Yes, the hot topics are going to be coming in, and I'm so excited to be back. It is just so refreshing to be back around my early childhood people. Again, I am Dr. Carolyn Bob Green, and as always, I look forward to training you to succeed in your classroom.